It's been nearly 17 years since the tragic shooting at Columbine High School. That's when Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris shot and killed 12 students and a teacher and wounded 24 others before taking their own lives. Now, the mother of Dylan Klebold is speaking out following the release of her book, A Mother's Reckoning, Living in the Aftermath of Tragedy. A tragedy many still partially blame on the parents of the killers, something Klebold acknowledged in an exclusive interview with ABC's 2020.
I just remember sitting there and reading about them. All these kids and the teacher. And I keep thinking, constantly thought, how I would feel if it were the other way around and one of their children had shot mine. I would feel exactly the way they did. I know I would. I know I would.
The book is due out today, and Klebold said she will be donating the profits to 5 different organizations focusing on mental health. Joining me now to talk all about this, psychotherapist and author Robi Ludwig. Robi, it's good to talk to you. When listening to this interview in its entirety, what is your initial reaction?
I felt for this mother's pain. In many ways, she was victimized by her son as well. And we don't think of it in that way because we very often look to blame the mother when something goes terribly wrong with a child. And so that certainly is an easy thing to do. But this woman was talking from the heart, and her life was completely changed after this horrible event as well.
You know, Robi, in all the tragedies that we've covered over the last couple of years, the last decade, really all of these awful things that are happening, a lot of people ask that same question over and over again. How could the people around that individual not see the signs? How could they not know it was going to happen? She actually speaks to this. His mother speaks to this. I want to take a listen to that, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
If it were me today, I would dig and dig and dig. I mean, I had all those illusions that everything was okay because, and more than anything else, because my love for him was so strong. I felt that I was a good mom, that he could talk to me about anything. Part of the shock of this was that learning that what I believed and how I lived and how I parented was an invention in my own mind.
I mean, it's really interesting, right? Because you think about, you know, hindsight is 20/20, really. You look back at the things that he was doing before he went to Columbine High School and killed all of those children. He was part of something called the Trench Coat Mafia. Some say that he was using the Heil Hitler way of addressing people. I mean, to some, there were a lot of red flags. How a mother could not see what was going on is still perplexing to many people, even in listening to that interview.
It's very confusing to think, how can a mother miss these signs? But the truth of the matter is, when it comes to adolescent depression and even suicidality, it's sometimes hard to tell the difference between normal, irritable adolescent behavior. So there is certainly that component of it. And there's a huge degree of denial. And if somebody doesn't understand, and this mother reveals it very well, she was almost like a proper parent and believed love would be enough to save her child, and didn't really understand her older son had a drug problem. Maybe there was depression going on in the family. There were also other signs. He was acting out. He was writing disturbing things in his writing class. But she really assumed the best, and a lot of parents do. And you have to remember, at the time, nothing like this had really happened before.
Right.
So parents are not trained. This is how you identify homicidal behavior in your teen child. They're taught, how do you get into a college? Right. What happens if your child is slightly depressed? What do you do?
And Columbine,
so there really wasn't kind of a common roadmap to follow for this woman.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, Robi, but we are running out of time. Quickly, what can parents learn? Because you're right. I mean, this was really one of the first major tragedies that happened at a school like this. But what's the takeaway? What can parents that have young teenagers look for? What can they learn from this mother, really?
If you notice a change in behavior of your child, ask questions, talk to teachers, notice who your child is hanging out with. You have to remember, during adolescence, who their peers are sometimes have a stronger influence on their behavior than parents do. So stay involved. If you feel you're being intrusive, that's okay. Just don't stop until you get questions answered. And if you feel you need to refer your child to an expert, do that. There's no downside in getting a second opinion.
Psychotherapist Robi Ludwig, Always good information. Thank you so much for weighing in. We appreciate it.
Thank you.